on the charisma of symbols. In the process of world modernity, the symbols that are known throughout humanity inexorably grow in importance. Whereas linguists and politicians continue to puzzle inconclusively over whether a general universal language would be desirable or achievable, certain individual symbols have long since become established as something like a new world order. Even the world of signs and symbols has a star system. A kind of Platonic heaven of ideas arose in the course of the 20th century, above the turmoil of languages, codes and messages, fighting for their share of the market of comprehensibility, and an elite of neo-universal symbols has entered this realm. The present text offers a brief selection from this semiological heaven of ideas that hovers above the modern world. For our contemporaries in the new millennium, particularly the inhabitants of the first world, what is presented here constitutes the seventh heaven of the global symbols that embody their fixed elements of their vocabulary, indeed of their world picture. In a dozen images of various kinds, trademarks, original symbols, insignias, pictograms, a constellation of sign lamps shines out. Its comprehensibility has transcended the boundaries of every regional culture and the barriers of every language. These megastars of the signs and symbols stand out from the mass through an almost planetary visibility, like satellites that orbit the Earth as artificial stars. These semiotic stars of the first magnitude stand above the mobilized Earth as codes of their own monstrous epoch. Looking at them, we realize clearly that the talk of one Earth is more than an Americanism or an empty phrase of the history of philosophy. The appearance of these signs offers a chance to reflect on the state of the world as revealed in the global distribution and readability of the present examples. The picture seems to define, as it were, the age of globalization and its radiant icons, its universal trademarks, its imperial messages. Indeed, by the power of their forceful penetration and visibility worldwide, the super-successful symbols in this collection always point, at least from an evolutionary perspective, to the basic process of modernity to which they owe their wide dissemination. The expansion of the world, or we could say, the drama of real globalization or unification. By dint of having been able to hold their own in reputation and validity, wherever they appear, they spread the good news of modern times, as the age in which each news item and each product can potentially be made anywhere and be made available at the same time. The function of the star system in the global synthesis is no different, and what is right for personal superstars is only fair for semiotic ones. This highly abstract perspective is the only way to clarify something these freely associated symbols have in common. How else could the Apple trademark appear next to the Taoist yin-yang world disc, Mickey Mouse beside the Christian cross, the Coca-Cola bottle next to the swastika, and the Levi's label beside the Star of David, without a caption to link them all together? It is as if we were walking around in a semiotic laboratory in which the universal applicability of world symbols was being tested. The martial law of the market and the divine judgment of success always decide on the good or bad luck of the symbol candidates. Understandably so, in the laboratory environment. The differences tend to be overshadowed by the common elements, and even a heavily compromised symbol like the swastika can be lined up and tested here in the vehicle park of transportation fit for global use. All the better if no one today can still find a positive meaning for it. Wherever the world itself is seen as a theatre for globalization tests, theology and economy have common concerns. As members of a fundamentally missionizing culture, we must expect the Christian cross to shine out behind every great symbol of success and advertising, as the model for every kind of propaganda. The cross is undeniably the prototype and pathbreaker of a semiotic world politics. They had no reason for existence except to give universality to a message and a symbol of salvation. In other words, the missionary precedes the marketing experts, and the advertiser is the paid prophet. Because capitalism is also a religion, in other words, a way of life of a supreme guiding force, Its main emblems, both names and products, are necessarily imbued with modern messianic energy. They transport joyful messages from the life of ease into the consciousness of stressed people all over the world, who strive for relief like insects moving towards the light. Part of the game rules of the New World religion, however, is that it should be able to present itself as anti-religion. Any modern person defines himself or herself as a member of the non-faith Consumers International, which pretends to have renounced all forms of absolutism and fundamentalism. The great symbols, however, know better than their users. They speak the language of glory and longing, which points to something beyond the sphere of consumer benefits. Who could have illusions about the messages that accompany the Mercedes-Benz star? Isn't this the guiding symbol of a kinetic world religion that promises its followers release through mobilization? Who can fail to see bright hopes of pleasure and performance shining out from the advertising symbols of this collection, as if messianic products were the mediators of a happy and successful life? It seems as if human beings are consciously and increasingly resisting the attempt to trace very great success back to pure chance. To maintain our emotional and logical balance, we want anything at the peak to be certified by something deeper than manipulation and dice games. In everything very successful, logic suspects something of its own basic forms and archetypes, as if the structures that push their way to the very top were stamped with an agreement of a higher kind. Let's call it predestination, or a guarantee that comes from the original image. Even if it is not a question of openly archaic signs and symbols and basic structures, as in the matters of the circle, cross and star discussed here, but only a matter of arbitrary brand names and emblems, taken together the megastars of the world of consumer symbols constitute an archetypal batch. It will probably always be difficult in such cases to say whether the chance success created the lustre, or the archetypal lustre created the success. The hit and the original image feed on each other, and something of the charisma of the famous name and the influential form floats over both of them. The profane, successful brand has something in common with the dignity, however illusory, of the species, which seems to have emerged initially from a creative intelligence.